Consistency, it's a big word. And I bet you a lot of money right now that anybody watching this video, including my mom, shout out mom, wants to become a more consistent golfer. And this game requires consistency. This is a game that you go out there and you hit it great one day, the very next day you come out and everything feels exactly the same and all hell breaks loose. This can actually happen in the same round. You can have stretches of holes where you feel like you're on top of the world and then all of a sudden things unravel very quickly. So today, we're gonna be talking about one of the things that ultimately affects your consistency pretty dramatically. We're gonna be talking about the low point. If you wanna become a consistent player, you have to have a consistent low point in the swing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about what the low point is. We're gonna talk about what affects the low point. We're gonna talk about why you have a hard time getting the low point in a consistent spot every single time. But most importantly, at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you a drill that's gonna focus on what your lead arm and your lead shoulder are doing in transition. That's gonna help you solve this stuff once and for all. In fact, I'm so confident that you will get good results with this drill when it's all said and done, that if you don't see a good pathway to success, or you don't start hitting the golf ball better the very next time you go out there and start working on this stuff, then there's a pretty good chance you and I need to stop this golf stuff altogether and just go take up pickleball. And I actually really like pickleball, I really do. But under no circumstance am I gonna take these things right here. I'm not gonna take these things over here and hang them up on the wall in the garage and grab my pickleball paddle over golf anytime. I can tell you that right now, and I don't want you to do that either, okay? We're gonna work on getting ourselves a pathway to success. You got it? Okay, good. It is a beautiful day to become more consistent. Let's get to work. Okay, so we are at that portion of the video where I give you way more information than you probably need, but this information is something that I want you to have, because just firing off a bunch of information from the hip and just telling you to go do something is not what I would consider responsible as a golf instructor. And I care about your well-being when it comes to this game, I really do. So you're gonna get this information whether you like it or not. So strap on your seatbelts, grab a beer and some popcorn, and let's go for a ride. Understanding what actually determines your low point in your golf swing is gonna start getting the wheels turning, okay? I want you to understand this very clearly. Your low point is going to be dictated by the position of your lead shoulder. Your lead shoulder is your primary pivot point in the golf swing. This guy right here, the one that's closest to the target. If I were to take my lead shoulder and I were to stand with all of my weight on my lead foot, and I were just to do some lead arm only swings, okay? What you're gonna notice is that the club bottoms out in the same spot every single time. Now, if my lead shoulder moves back and I make those same golf swings, where is the low point now? Well, it's quite a bit further back, right? You can see that it's further back than where it was when my weight was all the way on my lead side. Understanding that right there is one of the most critical pieces of the video. There's a pretty good chance that some of the stuff that you've been taught in the past is probably affecting this, but ultimately the way that you move from the top half of the swing is probably the main culprit to it. But I want to talk a little bit about ball position, because ball position is one of those things that a lot of people kind of get hung up on. For any of the videos that you've seen me put out in the past, or any videos that you see me doing in the future, when it comes to a stock shot, okay, I'm talking about where you're just getting up there and you're trying to hit it a certain number, right? You've got a 7-iron in your hand, you're trying to hit it 175 yards, whatever. You're trying to hit a stock shot, you're always gonna hear me say, I want the ball position off of the logo on your chest. And the reason for that is because we are going to be working to a consistent impact position where we're going to be stacking up our lead side. We want the ball position to be just inside of the low point in the swing so that we can continue to do what? So you can hit down on the golf ball. You have been taught for years that in order to be able to hit down on it and be able to create a de-lofting situation with your wedge, your 9-iron, your 8-iron, is that you're gonna start with the ball position middle to middle back, and you're gonna progressively move it more forward in your stance as the clubs get longer and flatter. But why have you been taught that? Well, because we didn't have a better understanding, right? We have been able to understand very much with modern day technology that we have available to us now that the face angle is your king or your queen of the castle. Your path is what basically dictates the curvature. Think about this. Let's just say I move the ball position all the way up to my left instep. By the time the golf ball or the club gets to the golf ball, my path is going to be more to the left. Same thing applies with the ball position being too far back in the stance. When my club is coming down trying to get to the low point, the path is going to be more in to out. This is going to change how you release the club very quickly. So one of the things that I love to do at My Golf DNA when a student first starts going through our program is I love to look at the current state of their swing, but I love to start teaching kind of like in a reverse engineered sort of format, because when I get you to understand where the low point is going to be in your golf swing, and then I teach you how to move to it, and then I teach you how to move through it, it's much, much easier for us to be able to manage the way that you're going to be delivering the club through the hitting area, because you don't have these little small dips or these little small shifts in your plane that make it almost impossible for us to be able to get things consistent. So consistency starts with understanding where the low point really is. And so that's why I gave you that information at first. But I'm going to teach you guys today where I want you to try to get yourselves to, no matter what club is in your bag, whether it's a 3-iron, a 5-iron, a hybrid, a wedge. I want your body in a very safe and efficient position at impact. Now, when you look at the best ball strikers in the world, men and women, what you're going to probably see from most of them at the point of contact is you're going to see that their bodies are very stacked up on their lead side, meaning you could form a straight line from the lead ankle up through the lead knee, up through the lead hip socket, up through the shoulder. You will see some minor variances in this position. You will see some players that have a little bit more tilt to their spine, okay, but they end up in a consistent location every single time they swing a golf club. You, on the other hand, end up in very inconsistent positions. And that's not just because of the ball position, but some of that stems from the ball position. But a lot of it stems from how you move from the top of the swing down. You want to move primarily from your arms or your shoulders. And when you start firing your arms from the top of the golf swing, where is momentum and inertia? Well, it's working that way. We're trying to shift and hit the ball that way. What are the chances that if you're firing the club this way, heaving your shoulders from the top of the swing down, that you're going to get fully shifted over to your lead side? Probably not very good. So understanding where it is that you're trying to get to and what's ultimately holding you back from that position should get the gears turning even more for you. Okay, so before I teach you this little lead arm, lead shoulder drill and how to practice this stuff, I need you all at home to do me a big favor, okay? Very important. If you're one of those players that doesn't have a good foundation, meaning you don't have good leg and hip action in your golf swing, well then it's a good, safe bet that you should probably have that stuff ironed out before you start trying to take on the stuff that I'm gonna teach you today. And I'm gonna do you a favor, and I'm gonna put 2 videos up here on the screen right now. They're gonna flash as a card. One is gonna be a video that's gonna teach you how to transition properly onto your lead side, how to make a good pressure shift, and then the other one is going to be a post-up video. If you don't see that pop up on the screen, then in the description below, there'll be those 2 links. Go watch those 2 videos and then bring your booties back here and then let this drill commence, because if you don't have a good foundation to move off of and you work on this drill, it's not really gonna do you a whole lot of good, because we're gonna be moving pretty dynamically here in just a few minutes. Now, on top of that, if you are brand new to the channel and you are liking what you see, you like the information, and you wanna learn more, then do me a huge favor, because we are going to be ramping up the amount of content that we put out over the next year, and I want you to be part of the family. And being able to spread our message means I need you to subscribe to the channel. I need you to share it with your friends. That would be awesome. If you liked today's video, click the like button below. If you have any questions or comments for me, please feel free to post those up below, and I will help you out as best as I possibly can. For those of you that have worked with me in the past or know me or have been a part of the channel since we got started a couple months ago, you could probably very well tell that I love to teach the game of golf. I love to be able to help you guys get better at the game of golf. And one of the most important things to me as a golf instructor is that you get success. And I love when you get success. I love seeing the smiles on your faces. I love getting the comments and the emails and the texts when you go out there and do something that you never thought you'd be able to do. This game has been a huge part of my life, and it's always gonna be a huge part of my life. I've enjoyed it to the fullest, and I wanna be able to get you at home to enjoy it the same sort of way. You got it? Okay, good. Now let's start practicing. So I want you to follow this plan. And I want you to remember when you're going through a practice session that you have to have awareness. You have to have some awareness of what it is that you're doing. You have to be able to have a rep strategy in place that's gonna allow your brain to start indexing this information when you get done your practice sessions. And you have to be able to back check what you're doing in a practice session. What I like to do is I like to try to get right around 100 to 300 reps in a practice session. And it's gonna feel like a lot of work today for sure. But remember, when it comes to making change, in order to make a real change, you gotta feed your brain, okay? You have to get certain number of reps so that your brain can index this stuff and so that it hangs on to it. I don't like wasting time. I know you don't like wasting time either. You guys have told me. So I'm gonna walk you through exactly how I practice this. You're gonna see exactly how I do it and how I want you to do it. You can make subtle variations of it as you go through the process, because you're gonna have maybe some heightened awareness, or maybe your awareness isn't really necessarily lined up with what we're looking for just yet. That's okay. Take your time and work at the pace that you feel comfortable with, okay? So I have a 7-iron in my hands today, and I'm gonna have it close by, but I'm gonna have it kind of off to my side here. We're gonna be doing this lead arm, lead shoulder first. And how I want you to do this is I want you to go ahead and take your setup, and I want you to make a big backswing, okay? So you're gonna shift and turn your body. Now remember, in this position that you see me in right now, in order to get the arm into the vertical plane, you're gonna see that my shoulder has got some protraction in it, it's got some tension in it. It's supporting my arm up here. If I turn those muscles off in the shoulder, what does my arm do? Well, my arm swings down underneath me. Now, if I want my arm to go faster, without using brute force arm strength, what would I do? Well, I would take my hips and I would shift them and unwind them really quickly, and then I would stall them out. That would help propel the hand and the arm through there. Wouldn't it? Of course it would. Now, if you do this good solid leg and hip action with that movement down from your arm, you're in the business. Now you've created efficiency. But that isn't the drill. That isn't the whole piece of the drill. What I want you to remember is that when you look at my lead shoulder going back, when you follow my lead shoulder going back, it's moved a substantial amount off of where it was at address. It's going to have to move a long ways to get it into the spot where it's stacked up at impact. So how we're gonna do this is we're always going to focus on our trail shoulder, staying as far up and behind our head as we possibly can. We're gonna keep it up behind our head as far back there as we can when we make our move over to our lead side. What I want you to focus on from the top of the swing is I want you to think about your lead shoulder working down towards your lead ankle. I want your lead shoulder to feel like it's moving down towards your lead ankle as your hips are opening up and your arm is dropping down off of the shoulder line from the top of the swing. Visualize where your ankle is. Get your shoulder to stay down and move in that direction, keeping the trail shoulder up behind your head as far as you possibly can, and you are cooking with some major hot sauce here. So how I want you to do this is I want you to break it up into a couple pieces at first, get some awareness of it, bring the club back in, repeat the process, then hit a golf ball. Back check it on camera, look at the positions to make sure that they're correct, start the process over. I'm not gonna stop after every set and check myself. I may do 3 or 4 sets and then check it. That way I can keep things moving and I can use my time wisely. For some of you, you may wanna stop and check at every single set along the way because you need to look at it to make sure you're doing it right. So follow this plan. So I'm gonna make a big turn up to the top of my swing. I'm turning the muscles off of my shoulder, bringing it back up. Now I'm gonna trace a line from my outside part of my shoulder over to my lead ankle and let my arm swing down. Okay? I'm feeling it. I bring the club back in. My right hand's on there. I'm focusing on feeling my arms come down as my lead shoulder works down towards my lead ankle. Okay? 2 good reps there. I'm gonna try to hit a golf ball, repeat the process. Okay, that was a little heavy. Let's do another one. Set up, lead arm, lead shoulder, big turn, relax the muscles. Okay, now marry that back, lead shoulder working down towards your lead ankle. Okay. Good focus. Okay, hit a golf shot. You probably just solved a lot of your problems in your golf swing that you didn't even realize. Your sequence got better, you're now moving it into the slot. You now have a drill that helps you solve your low point once and for all. Let's get out there and let's get to work.